You know, this whole dominance alpha thing has just worn a bit thin. I mean, apart from being irrelevant to training, it's pretty boring, and it's a very, how should I put it, simplistic way of looking at the most complex social structure that dogs have. You know, it's not quite as black and white and as rigid as that. And anyway, you know, dogs don't live in packs and houses. I mean, usually for most dogs, it's a single dog and they're living with a human family. Occasionally it's two dogs with a human family, sometimes it's three dogs, but you would hardly call that a pack. Certainly it will have a complex dog-dog structure, but again, that has nothing to do with dog training. And anyway, when we look at dog structure, you know, the whole point of the hierarchy is to prevent dogs from fighting. That's the whole point of having it. It's not that dogs physically fight and physically create this dominance hierarchy. It's totally the other way around. The hierarchy is created, if you like, by psychological experience, psychological nolo entendre. A puppy comes into a pack of adult dogs. How can he compete? So he comes in as a worm as a T-boy at the bottom layer. And as he grows up, now he raises through the hierarchy. But it would be untenable to even think of an adult dog beating up on a little puppy. The mere notion of physical domination is too silly for words, and especially if it's applied to dog training. Now, what we have in dog training is that humans are in control. They give instructions to dogs and dogs follow them. Perhaps I can best illustrate this. One of my favorite people in puppy class was a little girl called Kristen, and she was 7 years old, and she had a Rottweiler called Panzer. And a lovely family. And they're in class, and I do round-robin recalls and tell Dad, call Panzer. He'd say, Panzer, come. Panzer, sit. Panzer, down. And the dog was great. Beautiful obedience dog. Then I'd say, send the dog to Mum. And Panzer says, Panzer, go to Mum. And Mum would say, Panny, baby, could you come here? Can you come to Mummy? Can you sit? Oh, who's a good boy? Can you lie down? There's a good boy. Dog was really well trained. Then send Panzer to Kristen. And little Kristen would stand there like this, and she'd say, Panzer, come here. Panzer, sit down, sit. Where's a good boy? Who's a good boy then? So if we analyze what went on here, we have a little girl, you know, who is squeaking at a dog, and the dog does these things. Or to be more accurate, we actually say that a little girl gave the dogs requests, or commands even, but in a squeaky little girl voice, and the dog complied. The dog is demonstrating compliance here. The dog is doing what the little girl asks. But most importantly, the dog, this great big old Rottweiler, is complying both willingly and happily. And when we look at pet dog training, a little girl training a great big dog, or even a little fast dog, it's the only kind of compliance that can possibly work. Happy and willing compliance on behalf of the dog, where the human is controlling the dog with their superior brain, their superior willpower, and their voice. And that's the only tenable position that we have.